Yo, step in the vibe, it's the plug with Toya T. Unlocking dreams, we got the master key. We talking real talk, yeah, your destiny. Sis, you got the juice, let it pour, you see. Glow up vibes, stacking cash, what's good? Mind on right, we moving through the hood. Love and grind, keep it real, no cap.
The plug with Toya T, now picture that.
No ceilings here, we breaking through.
The plug with Toya T, got the game for you.
Big goals, big dreams, yeah, we staying true.
Tap in weekly, we got the vibe on cue.
Glow up vibes, stacking cash, what's good? Mind on right, we moving through the hood. Love and grind, keep it real, no cap.
The plug with Toya T, now picture that.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Toya T, and we have a show for you tonight. I'm gonna let some of y'all come in so we can do a proper welcome for Ron Brooks as he tells us his story about life after lockup. So we're gonna give him a few minutes to pop in, and while people are popping in, just do a little brief introduction. Not too much.
Well, you already introduced me.
No, yeah.
You told him my name. My name is Ron.
Tell him where you from.
I'm actually from Lincoln Heights.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he from Zone 15.
Zone 15.
For those of you who know that I'm from Lincoln Heights, I grew up in Lincoln Heights from 10 to 18.
What?
People always make jokes because I'm from Louisville originally, but I got here when I was 10. And I spoke like this. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that we live here and there are no other white people.
You didn't talk like that. Did she talk like that?
I talked like that when I got here.
Oh, okay.
And my grandmother told me that I needed to go down to Lincoln Heights so I could find myself. Because I wanted to go to Robert E. Lucas so bad. She was like, "You are not going to Robert E. Lucas, ma'am. You're going to go right down to Lincoln Heights." And so I went down to Lincoln Heights Elementary. I was in 5th grade. And it was the best decision she could have made for me. So, for sure.
Yeah.
Welcome in. Hey, Professor X. Hey, Terrence Gatewood. How are you? We're going to jump right into the show. We're just going to give you guys a minute to say hello to us. And
I can't believe this.
jump right on in. I'm from the zone.
I can't believe it. That just made me feel just a little.
They get a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Actually, I did an interview a couple years ago with Karma Dean. She's from Lincoln Heights also.
So Karma and I are in the same. We were friends.
Wow.
Still keep in contact to this day.
Yeah.
Yes,
She's the
for
first
sure.
one I did an interview with.
That's awesome.
First and last. Actually.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we'll go ahead and jump right in.
Okay.
So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your story. We touched on it at surface level, but tell us a little bit about what your story is. What's your story? How did you get to where you are today?
How did I get to where I'm at today?
And tell us,
So you said
how
after
we
Christ or before Christ?
Tell me a little bit before and a little after.
Okay. Yeah. So how I got here is through Christ, and but before, just typical story, raised up, in the streets, and my mom. So when I was young, it was normal for us to go visit my mom and my dad in prison. That was like a normal.
It was like the activity.
Yeah, that was a normal. So back in the early 80s, like the late 70s, you were able to visit them. Like my mom, we were able to have picnics in there.
At the prison.
At the prison, yeah. My mom, she was in Marysville. And just throughout my whole juvenile life, that's what my life consists of. Just.
Do you remember the age? What age were you?
Well, I actually went to jail for the first time when I was 11. So all of that was happening prior to that. All of that was happening prior to that.
And how do you go to jail at 11? What is that? What does that even look like?
Yeah, so just being bad and not going to school, and me and a couple guys, we actually robbed a jewelry store. One of my first.
At 11?
Yeah, I was 11. The first time I went to juvenile was, I caught my case when I was 11. I went when I was 12, which is 2020. And then they ended up sending us to the state center. But yeah, because it was normal.
Right.
It was normal. My mother was actually going around and she was doing robberies, and my father was doing robberies, even though they wasn't together, but they were more like friends.
So you kind of watched.
Yeah, it was a part of our life. Matter of fact, my whole household had been to prison. My mother, my brother, my sister, and my father.
Mm-hmm.
And one time, me and my siblings, we were all in prison at the same time.
Wow.
We were communicating with each other while we were in prison.
prison.
Yeah, so it was just like, this is not normal. That was normal
Right.
for us. For me, that was normal. Just being, like, it just feel funny just being free and not have to worry about going in and out of the system. Because I've been in and out of the system since I was 12, like literally.
So what's the longest amount of time that you were out, like that you remember?
Prior to this time, probably like 18 months or something like that.
So it was
Yeah.
a lifestyle.
Yeah, it was a lifestyle.
Going back and
Yeah.
forth was a lifestyle.
Right. And it get to the point where you don't even realize that something's wrong. Like, I didn't know that something was wrong. You know, not being like in school and not, having fun and doing the normal things. Like, one thing I learned that since I've been saved, like, I've been traveling around the world, but when you're in the streets, you don't go no further than where you at.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Did
Yeah.
you ever go outside of Lincoln Heights?
Well, see, when my mom would get out of prison, she would take us, she tried to be a mother. She would take us with her. Like, I lived in California, I lived in Philadelphia, I lived in Dayton. We lived in a lot of places.
So
when
she
we were
would
young.
travel.
Yeah, because she was like, that was like a career for her, like doing robberies and boosting and all. That was a career for her. So once they kicked her out of Cincinnati, well, she wasn't able to come to Cincinnati. She went to California, and so we were in California with her, and that's just always been her lifestyle. Like, when I first started selling drugs, when I got out of juvenile when I was 14, I got it from them.
You got the drugs from them.
From my mom and my stepfather. So even though they was using at the time, they hooked me up with the
With the
connect.
Connect, right.
Yeah. So I was able to, do that. But yeah.
And so take us a little further on the story. So you robbed the jewelry store at 11,
Yeah.
you go to jail at 12.
All right.
Where was this jewelry store? I'm just curious.
It was in East Lockland.
Okay, because I'm
Yeah.
like, y'all ain't go far.
Yeah, it was
so-
in East Lockland.
Okay.
Oh, we was driving and everything when we was young like that. Yeah, we was stealing cars and we was doing everything.
Everything
Yeah, we was
at
doing
11.
At 11, we was doing everything.
And I always make jokes that I could have ran a whole house at 13. Like,
Oh, yeah.
really pay my own mortgage, my rent, whatever,
Yeah,
gas and
yeah.
electric. I feel like Lincoln Heights prepares you for that.
Right.
Like, to just be able to handle your own stuff or
Right, right.
whatever it is. It's your problem just as much as it's your parents or
Right.
your grandparents or whoever you live with's problem.
Yeah, your whole mindset is different. You got this, I think I've always been on the defense. Like, I've always had this defense type of personality.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to do everything when I was running the streets. Everything was easy for me. In prison, in the streets, in clubs, anything I've ever done, it was always easy. Always, never trusted nobody,
Right.
never. Yeah.
And so you go to jail at 12. How long are you in the first time?
I stayed there for 2 years.
2 years
Yeah.
for this robbery. Did somebody get injured or something?
No, nobody didn't get it.
Okay.
No,
But what
nobody
made
did.
it 2 years? Like, that seems like a lot for.
No, it's actually they wanted to bound us over. They
Make
wanted-
you adults.
Right, because anytime you committing crimes with guns, it always takes it to a first degree felony, regardless of whether you young or whether you old. It always takes it to that level. But then when they look at the history, like, they'll look at you not being in school, you getting suspended. So they start looking at all these different things, and so they now consider you. It's almost like they put you in a category.
So they're like, he a menace.
Right, the chances of
Put him away. We don't need him in the street.
yeah. And, I mean, it's normal though. When you go in there, you see kids that's in 2020 that'll get, they call it juvie life. So they go in there when they 12 or 13, 14, but they stay until they 21. So that's called juvie life. When you get around 17, 18, sometimes they'll bound you over and they'll send you to prison. So you can be in
So
prison.
you don't even necessarily get out as an adult, like to say, okay, now you're an adult, we're gonna let you out
No,
and
no.
start over kind of thing.
Nah, not until you're 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're back in for 2 years. So tell us then what happens when you come out.
When I got out, it was just, I was a lot worse than what I was before I went in. I was way worse.
Because what were you doing? I mean, like 12 to 14.
Like when I got out, what was I doing?
No, what were you doing in there? Just like,
It's
how do you spend your days?
it's just the same.
At 12.
It's so in juvenile, it's almost identical to adult prison. It's the same identical thing, but they'll kind of make you do school and stuff like that in juvenile. But in adult prison, it's like you got a choice. You know, when I was in prison in adult, I didn't do nothing because I didn't want to do nothing. Actually, I was still selling drugs and stuff when I was in prison. I did. Yeah, we had guards and stuff, everything that was bringing us drugs in. You're a part of a gang, and like we had a big gang.
So it's a whole operation even once you get into
In adult prison, it's not foreign because it's everybody that you know. So when you're in juvenile, you meet all of these guys, and then when you get out, you might not never see them. And then when you go to prison, you see all the guys that you saw when you was in juvenile. So it's almost like it's the same environment, like nothing changed.
because they just grew up.
They just grew up the same way. Yeah, a lot of my friends today, I met them in juvenile. Like a lot of the guys that go here, they come to the Wilderness Center, I've been knowing them since juvenile. Like some of the guys that work for me, that we worked together, like literally, I met them in juvenile. We were locked up together in juvenile. And then we were in prison together. And then I got saved, and then they found out I got saved, and they started coming here. And then now we doing what we're doing now.
Now we're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so what was the hardest part about coming back into a world like what we have now, right? After living a life of going back and forth, you know, the least amount of time is the most is 18 months.
Right.
So, right, so then you get out into the world
Right.
as an adult.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part about coming back to that?
I think the hardest part is not knowing. Because you really don't think about like the next day. You probably, yeah, in prison, out of prison. When you're in the system, like regardless of whether you in or out, the mindset is the same. Like when I got out of juvenile or when I got out of prison, my mind was still locked up. So nothing changed.
Right.
Yeah, as far as responsibilities, like I really just got off into responsibilities and all of that stuff once I got saved. You know, none of that stuff don't make sense, like credit scores and just all the normal stuff.
Right.
Like you just don't. It's kind of
foreign, right?
Yeah, it really. Like I travel to different countries, and when I'm in other countries, I'll have to have somebody with me that can communicate for me, right? And when they're talking, they're just talking to me like I can understand what they're saying, but I don't understand what they're saying. When you get out of prison, like what people don't realize, they'll be like, well, they know what they doing, and they just choosing to do wrong. And I no longer believe that. Like I no longer believe that. And they'll be like, at some point in time, you have to know the difference between what's right and what's wrong. I mean, you got a sense of an ideal, but when you raised up that way, nothing really is about right or wrong. You don't really think about what's right and what's wrong.
Right. Because these are your parents and they've taught you
Right,
the way.
right,
And
right.
so
And your community,
your community,
your
everything.
friends, because that's the group that you now a part of.
Right.
That's the group that I've been a part of since I was a kid.
Right.
So in my eyes, like that's why I have so much patience with them, is because I understand.
Right.
Like a
Because
lot,
you've been there.
yeah, a lot of people don't understand. They don't have that same kind of grace or the same kind of love that Christ has for us.
Right.
They don't have that. They don't have that same compassion. But that's why you got all of these scenarios that's going on in the situation in our communities and the homes with the fathers, because men like us, they want to keep us out of the loop because they feel like we're not good enough because we don't have the educational background, we don't have the
So
training.
who is that? Who wants to
I'm
keep
just
you out
saying.
of that?
So when you talk about change in our communities, they'll have meetings and they'll get together and everything, but the men in the streets don't really know nothing about it. But these are the ones that have fathered all of these kids out here.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, when you out there in the streets, you haven't tapped into what real love is. So you don't know what love is. I don't know that I can hurt you the
Right.
way that I'm hurting you. I don't know that the things that I'm doing will damage you or cause you trauma. So it's okay for me to have 5 kids by 5 different women. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Do you think it's somewhat of a like stunting of growth? Like that whatever time you went into the system, your brain is kind of like stuck in that
It could be.
stage.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing any developing really.
Right,
I mean,
right.
if you think about it, if you go in at 12 and you come out at 21, you're still really 12.
Yeah, right. I agree with that.
And I think that you don't experience the world in the same way, right? So it's like
It's
you
all
come
scary.
out- Yeah,
It's scary. Everything is scary. Like everything that you do that's new is scary now because you should have been doing that. Like when I went to go get my driver's license or something like that, that was scary because I've been driving without license for so long.
right.
You know
Like
what I'm saying?
now I'm about to follow the rules.
Yeah,
Or they gonna arrest
yeah.
me because they found out I ain't even having a license for
Yeah.
the last 10 years.
Ever, not the last 10 years.
ever.
So when I first got my first set of driver's license, I think it was like in 2006 maybe. I think. I can't remember. But even being legal, I still was terrified. Like if the police got behind me, I'm thinking run.
PTSD, right?
I'm still thinking run. I ain't even did nothing.
Right.
I haven't committed no crime. I haven't done anything. So as soon as I see one, even if he driving beside me, the first thing I'm thinking in my mind is run. And I have done absolutely nothing.
Right. That's the problem with all of this stuff with ICE, right?
Yeah.
Because we are accustomed to the police are the op, right?
Yeah.
I remember growing up in Lincoln Heights, we used to always say, "Bloop, bloop."
Yeah. You put that shit from the guy. She did that.
We knew, like, the cops is here, it's kind of scattered.
That's our saying.
If you ain't doing
That's
nothing,
my
if you
homie.
doing
That's my
something.
homie. That's she know it though. That's
You know
cold.
to get up out of the
That's-
way, right?
Yeah, that's cold.
And so
right
you
there.
think about,
That's cold.
as an adult, how
Yeah.
that still it's a natural response for you,
Right,
you know, because
right.
that's what you've always known is, okay, the police are coming, we need to get moving. You know, like,
But
we
at
not
that
about to
time,
be
but we're
here.
guilty of something. But this is the thing that I'm trying to really hit into people like you stuck in a dark place where you're not even guilty, but you're acting as if you're guilty or as if you're done. Like most of these men or whatever that something happens with the police and them, they taking it to another level because they don't even understand. I haven't even done anything.
Right.
So I'm already, I got this defense up and now I'm being super aggressive and I'm gonna meet him right where he at.
Right.
Right, whatever he wants to do, I'm gonna meet him right there where he at. And I think that that's the beautiful thing about being saved. Because I've been shot a few times, I've been stabbed a few times, I've been on a deathbed twice. And when I
Is that what took you?
no,
brought you to Christ?
no. So I wasn't looking for him. I was still headed. Actually, I was headed back to prison a few years ago. I was headed back to prison. Nothing like had changed in my life. Nothing. I still was the same identical person that I've always been. I went back in. I caught my case when I was 18, went back in when I was 19, came home in my 30s. I was still same identical person. Nothing changed. I mean, the first week out, I was selling drugs, like had a gun, everything, even though I know I
Back to whatever you.
yeah, I mean, so when your friends, this is what relationship is all about. When you get out, that's how they honor you. You know, so they're gonna give you drugs, guns,
Money.
Yeah, women, all of that. So you get all, and all, like I said, all of that stuff is normal. So now we do it. So somebody else come home, we do the same thing, and so now we're doing the same
Because
thing.
we want to pay it forward, right?
Right,
It's like,
right.
well, my guy just got out, I want to make sure you do it.
Absolutely. And,
Do you think that's part of the problem? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, what's it's a new movie that we watched, about Christianity with the men, The Forge. Have you watched The Forge?
I think I have. What is it about?
It was just recently, it was talking about bringing men to Christ
Oh,
and how, basically they create a community of men that support them as they're going through different trials and tribulations to
Right.
basically be that support system like you're talking about. But in a more positive light, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna make sure you can get a job. I'm gonna make sure that you have money in your pocket, that, you have a place to stay.
right.
Those kinds of things that are important, because when you come out of prison, you want to get right back, right? It's like, I can't be out here looking like no flunky because I'm a leader, right? When I went in, I was a leader.
Right.
I'm always at the top of the food chain, so nobody's gonna expect anything different from me when I come out. I need the latest kicks, I need the latest everything, and so in order to do that, you got to have some kind of system, right? Some kind of network of people. But do you think that is the problem? Like, do we need more of a network of people that are bringing people to Christ? Would they even listen?
I think that would be an awesome idea. The problem with like men like us in prison, like Christ is really not an option. Most black males in prison, either they're gonna become a Muslim, a Hebrew Israelite, or maybe a folk, or they're gonna be in a gang. Like Christianity is so far off. So the ones who in prison, the ones who you see that were Christians, that were in church, it probably was their first time ever being in trouble. They probably just made a bad choice and they ended up in there. So they were kind of like separated from us. They were like model
Citizens.
right in prison.
In prison.
Yeah, you can tell that they may have, made some bad choices and they ended up in there and it wasn't normal. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they hung out at. They hung out in the church in there, where the Muslims or the Hebrews, they was out on the yard where everybody at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they ready for whatever. So it was more, so even when you get out, if you had a Christian network, this is what I was talking about at the very beginning, when I said they have meetings, but they want to include people like us. So it's some kind of hidden fear there where they don't really deal with these type of men. If you look at the homelessness, let's just say Cincinnati, every time, somebody starts a ministry or whatever, the first thing they do is run downtown and they feed the homeless. But what they don't realize, like homelessness in the 70s were families that were working that may have lost their job and they fell on a hard time. Homelessness today is drug addicts and alcoholics or whatever, so they give them money and feed them or whatever. But what they don't realize, it started in the home.
Right.
So you got the parents that probably was on drugs, and then you got the sons that want to step in because the father is absent. So now I want to provide for my siblings. So now I'm selling drugs, but I'm selling drugs to everybody, family, friends, or whoever.
Yeah.
So now I catch a case and I go to prison. But when I come home, it's like I'm alienated from the change that needs to happen in the community. Well, this is a fatherless generation. These are all your fathers. Everybody that's hanging in the bars, the guys that's selling drugs, the guys that's drinking, the ones out here fornicating and sleeping with everybody and doing all that. Those are the fathers of all of these kids that are out here in the communities that are acting up. So the ones who, it's almost like this. If you have a drug program, like you can start it, but if you ain't never been on drugs, you want to have somebody that's been on drugs to come in there and talk to the people,
Right.
Because they're more effective. People in this, I'm not going to say church world, in the religious world, because they're self-centered and everything is about them, then
They can answer the question.
well, they'll look at you and say, I can't use you because you haven't changed yet. I can't use you, but they don't know if you use me, that might help me change.
Right.
They don't even realize. They say, we're just gonna wait till you change and make a decision to get your life. Well, I didn't decide to get my life together. I actually had a visitation from Christ in my bedroom. That's what.
the Reverend.
Yeah, so I got shot at, and like I said, I've been shot a few times prior to this, and there was a scenario that really didn't have nothing to do with me or whatever, and some things happened or whatever, and I was just like out of it mentally. I was out of it mentally, to the point where in my mind, I knew that I was going to end up back in prison or dead or whatever, but where my mind was at, like, that was okay, because it's what I've been doing all my life. But anyway, that night, I was asleep at home, and the Lord woke me up, like literally in my sleep, woke me up, and He told me that I was going to be a witness for Him throughout this world. Like literally, like this is the first thing that I heard from Him. Literally, from that moment on, like I really didn't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't go outside. When that encounter happened, I don't even think I went outside for about a month.
Were you scared?
No, I wasn't scared. I just didn't know what was going on because I hadn't really cried. Like the last time I had cried prior to that, I want to say I probably was about 10 maybe.
There was a
So
lot of pent up.
yeah, so now it's like I'm crying and I don't even know why I'm crying. So my wife, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, she was asking me what was wrong, and I was like, I don't know. And I said, you see that cloud right there? And she was like, what cloud? And it was like a cloud in my bedroom. It was like I was looking at it, and I was literally trying to grab it, and I was crying. I don't even know why I was crying, and it was just like I was just releasing, and like every day I was just in the house. So anyway, I had took the kids to a daycare, and I was telling somebody about what happened. Matter of fact, they go to the church here. I was telling one of the ladies that owned the daycare. She actually goes here now, and I was talking to her, and I was telling her what happened. She was like, "Oh, you had an encounter with Jesus." She's like, "You had an encounter with Jesus." So it was another guy that heard about it, and he from Lincoln Heights. His name Marky Lee. You know Marky Lee? He's Deacon Lee. Well, he's an elder now.
Maybe if I see him.
He came to see me. And he really was like, man, I can tell you what happened to you and all that. And so he started inviting me to come to church or whatever. And I'm like, man, I ain't going to church, you know. And I was really being rebellious because, you know, I heard you can't wear hats and you can't do this. So I would always sit in the back with my hat on, hoping they'd just tell me to get out, you know, because I really didn't know what was going on. But just from that moment on, like nothing. I had drugs in the streets. I had money in the streets. I never went back and got nothing from nobody. Anything anybody owed me, I just walked away from it. I never cussed again, never cheated again. I've never done nothing ever since. I've never said a cuss. I'll cuss you out. My vocabulary is about this, yeah. So I'm really just now really learning like how to like read and understand what it is that I'm reading. And so when he told me that, what I started doing was I just started going to like daycares and barbershops, beauty salons, down to 2020. I just started going and just telling my story, just telling. Before you know it, people start hearing about it. And then I would get a call and they were like, well, can you come up here to Indiana? Well, can you come here? Before you know it, I was way over in Africa doing it. And I was in Morocco. I was in Barago. I've been to Elijah. I've been everywhere, like doing this same thing. Like literally, I've been going state to state, just testifying and just telling people how good it is. Because, see, when somebody says that they forgive you, you will never understand what that means until you can feel forgiveness. So when I understood that, because I'm just telling you the things that happened to me. But I didn't tell you all the things that I did to other people.
Right.
Like I didn't tell you.
So you feel like, how am I worthy of forgiveness, right?
Man, so, I mean, man,
And I think that it's one of those things that you want people to experience it,
Right,
right? It's like you
right.
want people to have a touch from God,
Yeah.
even a piece of what you experience,
Right,
because
right.
it's so impactful.
Right, right.
What advice would you give to somebody that maybe is going along a path of destruction and they haven't really had an interaction with God, or might be looking to find out more or anything like that?
I mean, so I started a men's class, and most of the men are from the streets. My issue is that I know that giving them advice, it's hard for them to receive it. Like they have to be around you, because they got to see it.
And they gotta see that you care. They gotta see that you really are in it for the right
Right.
reasons, right? And I liken it to when you're dealing with young people in troubled backgrounds. I started my career at Bloom down in the West End, and everybody warned me about why not to go, right? And when I got there, I felt at home, right? These kids they were looking for somebody, somebody that could relate to them, somebody they could relate to. And I was able to be in a position to hear,
Right.
to listen,
Right.
Because they had been through things that I couldn't even imagine, right? And we talk about being in Lincoln Heights and how rough Lincoln Heights
Right.
is. You go down to the West End and you hear some of these stories, like the grandmas running a brothel, them recruited the granddaughter
Right.
at 11, 12, like what? That's stuff that you don't see happen in Lincoln Heights.
Right.
And Lincoln Heights is bad.
Yeah, right, it is. Yeah.
We grew up with some rough times. And so I think it's important for people to understand that no matter what it is that you have gone through, there's somebody that been
Right.
through something worse.
Right.
And you gotta find your way back in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
I really think it's unfair because when you look at churches, like it's rough. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. It don't necessarily have to be true. Like being in a gang or being in the streets, we were closer than the Christians are on this side. Like you got so much that you got to deal with when you're dealing with so-called Christianity. Like even though same Holy Ghost, same Jesus, just different ways,
Right.
different styles or different tactics of doing things. And I just think it's sad when you have a group of people that are supposedly filled with the Holy Spirit, but look down on a group and miss it, like miss the mark. But everything that Jesus did had everything to do with the people. It did. Like if you notice, one day he was in the synagogue, and as soon as he left, it said he was moved with compassion upon the people. It never said it inside the synagogue, but when he came out in the village and he saw the people, he was moved with compassion. I just don't feel like people have enough compassion to the point where give them a chance. It doesn't matter what a person did, don't matter what their past was like. It's the same God. Nothing changes. And I think it makes it more of a more powerful story when you allow God to move in this person's life and change this person from inside out. I think that's how you win a generation of especially this generation. Nobody wants to go out there and deal with them. Nobody wants to deal with drug dealers or murderers or rapists or robbers or domestic violence. Everybody wants to deal with homelessness. That's it.
Right.
Because it's easy. There's nothing to it.
Right.
Us three, we can get together right now and go feed the homeless. We can go do that right now.
Right. Make
But-
some sandwiches up and
Yes,
then you feel good.
you feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's self-serving.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily for the help of the person.
Yeah.
I always say that it's important to pull out the gold in people.
Come on,
Right.
man.
And
Yeah,
so
that's good.
if you can go out into the community and allow people that other people don't see, because sometimes people just don't
Right.
see you,
Right.
right? It's like, oh, there they go, they asking for money, or there they go, and so the reality is that if you can get people into a place where you can really showcase the value of a person and what they can bring,
Yeah.
because they still can bring something. That's the part that
Absolutely.
people miss. It's like, just because you done spent however much time being incarcerated or doing this or robbing or whatever it might be, there's still gold in there.
Absolutely. I
And
believe
so
that.
pulling out the gold is a big
Yeah,
piece.
I believe that. I believe that. I just think we're in trouble. Like I said, because we have all these meetings, we have all these gatherings and stuff, but my input is extremely important when you're dealing with this violence and these things that are happening in the streets. It's extremely important.
Yeah.
If you've never been there and you just keep having these meetings and keep talking and just keep, like, I believe God's word, nobody don't have to tell me anything because he came to me himself.
Right.
So just think, I didn't go to a revival.
Profit.
No, nobody laid hands on me. Nobody like offered him to me or anything. Like I wouldn't have never, if I had to make a decision, then I probably would have chosen something else if I wanted to change my life, because that's always been like a white man religion to us from juvenile all the way to adult. There's no way. But I tell people right now to this day, I said, okay, well, what color was he when he came in my room?
Right.
There was no color. It was just the Spirit of God just literally came in my room. So in order for me not to believe it, he would have to come and do it again.
Right, and say, wait a minute, I ain't for you. I'm the white Jesus.
Yeah,
Did
no,
you not know?
man, no. I tell people all the time, like I don't even argue with people. Like I'm not even having that I don't got time for this type of conversation. Like we don't need to go back and forth about the scriptures. We don't need to do none of that, because if he changed my heart, we know for a fact, this is a fact. We know that I've been changed. This is a fact. Anybody who my whole family, well, the majority of my family goes here. My brother, my sister, my mom, she visits from time to time, but then my cousins, they know me. So we know for a fact
Right.
that something happened. We know that much, right? So now we just got to explain what happened. Well, if you look at Saul on the road to Damascus, something happened to him
Right.
on the road to Damascus, right? He had an encounter.
Transformed him.
He didn't have to go to no services. He didn't go to nothing.
Right.
And from that moment on, so like I'm 100% convinced, like, that Jesus is real.
And
Right.
that's probably why you were chosen, right?
Right.
Because God understood that it would be so clear that it came from nobody else but him.
Yeah, I believe it.
It'd be
I
so
believe it.
clear.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause
wanna hear it,
we
man.
know that rhyme, right?
Yeah,
We grew
yeah.
up with it, we know all of that.
Yeah.
So in final words, if folks want to come and check you out, or obviously we're dealing with a lot of violence in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah,
If they
absolutely.
want to get your insight or bring you in,
Yeah.
how will they reach you?
Yeah, so I'm the clergy at the Hamilton County Justice Center, so I actually, volunteer and go down there also. But they can reach me at 2140 Waycross here, Forest Park, 45240. Actually, we have service here
What
on
time
Sundays.
Sunday?
We have the men's, women, and children classes. All of them are kingdom classes. They're separate at 11 a.m. and then service start at 12. And then on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. here also.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you heard it here first. We appreciate you,
Absolutely.
Ron,
Thank
for
you.
just stopping by.
Thank
And
you.
well, me stopping by. We appreciate you doing the interview with
Thank you,
us,
thank you.
and we hope that
That's my homie.
it changes
That's crazy.
somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
We thank you guys for tuning in. I know we're past time, but if you have any questions, hey Roy, hey Mary, hey Marietta, do you guys have any questions for Ron before we sign off? I'll put it out there. I only give you a couple seconds and then I say, because I don't know who's like effectively on, or if it's just showing. Okay, so I don't see any questions and we are past time. So with that, thanks for joining.